Okay, so I'm sure everybody would like to start digging in with a little color, even though we haven't chosen I haven't chosen my flowers yet. I want to show you how to and what to choose next week. So one thing you can do is you can start playing around in your notebook and testing and mixing some colors to see what works. So I'm going to be referring to my still life, which is off camera right now, and I'm going to be mixing some colors and kind of laying them in. But first I'm going to do like a little mini sketch of what I have going on in these little squares. These squares are approximately the same proportion as an 8 by 10 rectangle. So I'm going to do about a third here. I'm going to basically draw in the vase, the cup. I don't know what it is. If it's got handles, I guess it's a vase. Maybe there was a lid to it at some point. I don't know. I found it in an antique shop, so it's about. Doesn't have to be perfect. It's just sort of to give yourself an idea of, you know, the general shape and layout. Alright, so I have 3 roughly sketched things in, and here's the drapery and a little darkness in the background. And I'm anticipating adding something over here, probably another flower or maybe a small object, and I want the viewer's eye, generally the viewer's eye reads left to right. So it's going to pick up that line of the fabric in the background, come down, look at the pansies and stuff, and then follow away. Follow, your eye's going to follow to this object here, and then hopefully circulate around in the photograph. You know, maybe there's something here color-wise that'll lead the eye back up around. So we want the viewer's eye to sort of remain engaged in this composition. So sometimes there's little tricks like that that help do that. Sometimes when things feel off, when you look at a piece of work, you're like, why is that off? It's usually because the composition feels a little like not engaging, and it pushes your eye off to, you know, if I didn't have this object here, maybe it pushes the viewer's eye off here with a really strong diagonal color or line or something hard that pushes the eye that way, or maybe it's the lighting that pushes the eye that way. Not that that's a bad thing, but it can be distracting. These are some of the small tricks you learn as you go, what works and what doesn't. So I'm going to start with my green. My green is a very like sort of between a jade springy green and a lime green. So I'm going to go and make a little space on my color palette. I always leave color on my color palette. I don't clean them up because I like to, usually because I'm working on a bunch of different paintings at the same time, and this tray comes out, so like that might be one painting, this will be another painting, and then I have another color palette for a third painting. It's kind of why I like this travel watercolor palette, because it has those kind of options. I'm going to take one sheet of the paper towel to clean this up. I like to keep it right here so I can wipe my brushes and blot if I need to with the one in my hand. So I'm just going to lift that up. You know, you can see that some colors are very staining. That's, I think, a phthalo. So I'm gonna mix. I'm gonna first see what this Viridian green looks like. It's a very cool green. And I'm gonna put down a little sap green. All right, you can see that this is a very cool green and that's a very warm green. Let's see what it looks like when we mix them together, if that makes a nice sort of jade color. So we're gonna put this down. This is nice. It's a little too earthy. The color on the cup handle is very candyish, So I'm going to try something different. I'm going to mix my own greens. So I'm going to use the cobalt turquoise, right? And I'm going to use a lemon or bismuth yellow. Bismuth is really cold, a cold, cool yellow, if you can think of a yellow as being cold. Wow, that's very limey. Let's see what that looks like. I just like that color, so I'm going to put that down. Oh, and definitely make notes as you go. So this was Viridian and sap. This is cobalt teal and bismuth. All right, and I think if we add a little more of that cobalt teal in, or cobalt turquoise, sorry. Look at that, that's a very candyish color too. Ooh, that's nice, that's very bright. I like that. And I'm just gonna correct that to turquoise, and then I'm gonna add plus cobalt turquoise. All right, and then I'm going to try adding a little Viridian to that because I want to see what that looks like. It's not, it's slightly darker, so let's see what that looks like. Nice. So that's plus Viridian. And then I want to go back and I want to add something that's a little bluer. So I'm going to take this color, which is this color here, and I'm going to add a little manganese blue. And I think that that will get me to the cooler temperature of green, a little darker version of that cooler temperature green. Let's see. Yeah, that's definitely a little cooler, right? So I'm going to write plus manganese, and then I'm going to add a little more. Manganese blue is a great color. Ooh, look at that. Now that's getting approaching jade. So I think with these different greens, and you know, some warmer, some cooler, I'll be able to use those as colors for the handle. So I'm going to put plus more manganese. No. Oh, no, it was Viridian, wasn't it? Was it? Did I have it right? Yeah, it was Viridian. Or was it manganese? We'll put question mark. I don't remember what it was. Okay, so I'm going to play around with the yellows now. So I really want to wash out my brush. So much for the clean and dirty water. I've kind of mixed the two, but they're not that dirty yet, so I won't change them. So I want to play with yellows. Yellows are tricky because it's yellow, we always think of it as a warm color, but yellows can be cool too. And like I showed you before, the bismuth yellow is definitely a cooler yellow. So that's here. It actually has a little green in it because I don't ever clean my palette. But if I wanted to, I could add a little more or clean it off. So that's bismuth yellow. This is, I gotta clean that. Cadmium yellow, lemon. All right. So that's look how much warmer that is. That's a much warmer color. And clean that off. This looks like gamboge, and this is cadmium yellow, medium. So this I'm going to go write bismuth. This is cad yellow lemon. This is gamboge, and this is cadmium yellow medium. And these kind of look like they're going from the coolest to the warmest yellows I have on my palette. Oh yes, I also have, I forgot, I have ochre, which is an earth color. All right, so that's much warmer and sort of more subdued. it's a little browner on the brown side. Right? And then I have Nickel Quin Gold, which is a great color. It mixes with greens. If you need a nice, clear, unmuddied green, this mixes with greens really nicely. Look at that. It's almost like it seems more transparent than the ochre. You can really see the paper through it. Okay, so that's yellow ochre. And this is Nickel Quin Gold. If for some reason you don't have the watercolor, suggested watercolor list, just let me know and I will send you a copy of it. All suggested, all professional quality, and I think you buy the smallest amount that you can and it'll last you for a very long time. So those are some yellows. I'm looking at this vase pot and it's very lemony yellow and it has these kind of greens in it, but there are some warmer colors in here. So I'll probably be sticking to this side of the color palette. And so now let's see for the table surface that I have. The table surface I have is a little different than the one in the original photograph. It's very aqua, and so I'm going to start with the color that's closest to that, which again is the cobalt turquoise. So let's just see what that looks like. Ooh, that's so pretty. And let's see a light. I'm going to water it down. All right. And I'm looking at it. And actually, this color seems just a slightly yellower, so I'm going to add a little of this bismuth, just a smidge. See what that looks like. Ooh, that really made it very green. I think this color is going to be interesting. Maybe it's a little too bright too, so if I dull it down with maybe a little opera rose, let's see, a little more opera rose, complementary color with that's cobalt turquoise with a little opera rose over here. That sort of, it softens it, it mutes it, it makes it a little quieter of a color. And again, you know, when paint's wet, it has a very different sort of quality of luminosity or depth of color sometimes than it does when it dries. So the real test is what it looks like when it's actually dry. There's this same color watered down a little bit. And then I'm going to try something a little bluer. I'm going to try cobalt blue. I don't want it to be like jazzy bright. I want it to be a little subtler, but sort of maybe the shadier side of that color.